So I'm rambling on. These Scots pine I've got come out. It's basically a great big forestry show. See if I can see if the horse is still in here, because I'm not convinced.
They're really good.
Hey Woodlanders, welcome to another woodlog. Grab your favourite drink, pull up a chair and enjoy some woodland paradise again.
Mum, this one's sweet.
Is it?
It's really good. You tried one?
No, not yet.
Cheers. Wow.
Itchy leg now.
Woo. They're really good. You would think these, these juicy ones. Oh, look, they're so big. Oh, look, they should be so good. They're actually not that good. They're actually quite disgusting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're actually quite bad. I've tried some and it's like, they're not good.
Hey Woodlanders, welcome to another woodlog. We are still in the middle of our timber framing project. You may notice behind me, apple season is almost upon us, so we've got some ready but not quite. These aren't quite ready yet, and the lack of moisture really has affected the size this year. So you may have noticed in your own fruit trees that the lack of ground moisture really has made for some smaller apples. And so I've got my poles for the timber framing that I've been doing at home, and the next job is I'm off to get some charcoal out. All sorted, got our charcoal boxes in and a couple of the bits I needed. Right, let's go.
Hello everybody, I need to tell you something. So you know how big YouTubers get the comment? I want at least 10 comments because I just love seeing comments. I might even comment, Dad might even comment. Yeah, so if you could comment that would be really nice, but only if you want to, as well as like and subscribe. For my jobs I have to move the bird feed. I also have to pick blackberries, but we didn't bring any tubs, so we have to wait for Mum. She's at shopping.
I've just been picking some apples and noticed in the long grass some fresh horse manure, and I've just popped down to the bottom end because one of our neighbours has got horses and they've been through before and broke the fence, but yeah, they've gone and done it again. So the horse pushes and pushes on the fence line. You can probably just see it behind me. They push on this fence line. They eat everything that they can reach because of the long necks. I'm just having a wander around to see if I can see if the horse is still in here, because I'm not convinced the horse has actually gone out yet. I mean, you get these things, but it's the damage they cause. They've eaten me apples at the top end, and they, because they're great lumbering things, 3/4 of a ton of meat, and they just smash hell out the fresh cut coppice. So here we've got breach in the fence, look, which is where it came through before, because I've put gripples on to stop it, but the gripples have pulled through, so it's been pushing and pushing on this. That post has broke, and these posts have gone over. So looks like my first job this morning is fence repairs, which it was meant to be starting the coppice. So I've put some stakes in down there, some chestnut ones, I've pointed them up. But to be honest, with this dry summer we've had, the ground is so concrete dry. I'm having a nightmare trying to get them in more than about 4 inches. So we'll just have to do for now, and at least it'll prop up the fence if nothing else. But the minute the horse leans against it, could almost do with redoing the whole fence line now. Anyway, I've been in touch with the owner. She says she's going to put electric fence up this time, which there was muted that might happen last time, but it didn't. All we got was this bit of a tangled mess here, look. Anyway, so she's promised some tape, and because this is my fence and it's my job to maintain it, but I got no idea it was this bad again. I come down every couple of months, but this is pretty bad. Right, let's crack on and get this done. Well, that's what I call a dog roof repair, but my heart is not in it this morning. I was meant to be doing something else, coppicing, and so Fence repairs were not really on the agenda this morning, and my mind is just not about making a decent job. I suppose what it wants really is this cutting out now and a new piece splicing in and tensioning up properly. I'm just sort of hoping the electric fence will take care of the rest. I'm really not a big fan of running sheep through a woodland. I mean, this is now devoid of all lower vegetation, which that's really not for me at all. But it's not my ground, and I guess it's each to their own on their different management strategies, but yeah, not a fan of that. So the fence is back up. It really does look a mess. It may stop the horse for a day or two, because once it's gone in here, I think it has this sort of memory of, oh, there was some good grazing over there. So it pops over again, say hello. Right, let's go and get some coppice on. I'm absolutely wet through with sweat, which I don't think you would want to know. But we had thunderstorms last night and it's so humid today. I'm absolutely melting. First week in September, and got a bit of an order for some hedge laying stakes and binders from a local chap. He does some hedge laying training. The Heart of England Hedge Laying Group, I think it's called. And they want 120 stakes, 120 binders. So from a coppicing perspective, cutting in September is a little bit early really. We're still full of leaf, you can probably see that behind us from the oak trees. But because we've had such a dry summer, the hazel leaves have actually started to drop. And I think it's just the tree's natural cycle of, I've not got enough to drink, so I'm going to have to shed something, and they shed their leaves. So the hazels have dropped a few of the leaves, not many. So I've just got to decide which bit I'm going to start cutting. I think I know. So I'm going to swap how often I cut my hazel, especially on our own woodland. I'm going to drop hours down to I think 4 years. So there's some down there that's on 6 years, and once I've done that, then the other stuff that I've got to cut is on 5 years, and that means then I think I've caught up and got everything. So the next year's cut will actually be the 4th year cut. So I'll have jumped a year, I think that's right anyway. I'll just show you this. Yesterday I was at a lady's garden. She's got absolutely loads of self-set hazel. The squirrel comes along, buries all the nuts, and I don't know whether the squirrel died or just forgot where he put his stuff or her stuff, but deposited these, and I think there's probably about 100 hazel in there. So what I've done is filled up the bucket of water. I didn't have a chance to repot them or anything. I've just put them in here for now because they're in the back of the van. So that was a nice little find. Some freebie self-set trees. I like self-set trees. I'm a bit of a sucker for them, to be honest. I do tend to like, oh, we can't get rid of that tree. So she's got even more in the back garden, so I should be lifting them in a couple of months when I go back. The challenge you've got with self-set trees is, of course, where you're getting them from. Now, as long as you've got the owner's permission, the other thing I have to consider is what weeds, especially if it's in somebody's garden. So this lady's got convolvulus, which is a horrible, they call it bindweed, and it does exactly that. It spirals and binds around everything. It has them big white trumpet flowers on them. Somebody, without thinking, decided to import it from another country, and well, if you've got it in your garden, it's a nightmare stuff. You can get rid of it, but you end up having to use chemical, which is not my favourite. She's got some bindweed, so that's why I decided to put it in a bucket of water. What it does, it softens all the roots up, and bindweed has like these thin white, really brittle root systems, and usually, because the roots are so different on the hazel, they're really fibrous. Normally, if you give them a good soak in a bucket of water, either the convolvulus root will drop out in the water and then you can just bin it, or you can find the white roots and you can just pull them out gently. So hopefully I won't transplant any nasties. I'm going to get my saw out. We'll go and cut some coppice. It's a funny one, because when I first cut coppice, when I get to this sort of time of year, I'm quite keen to get going. You know, so getting the coppice, I want to get some coppice cut, and I'm really quite enthusiastic. Well, this morning's horse escapade has set me back a bit, and now I've got work in the rain. But in general, I feel quite quite looking forward to the new cutting cycle. I've really enjoyed the craft work I've been doing in August, so the timber frame project, I've really enjoyed that, and if it could be that I could do more of that in the future, then that would be awesome. But for now we are coppice cutting, and that is a necessary cycle, something I want to do in our own woodland. Come on, let's go and cut some coppice. I've been meaning to ask you about the APF. Have you ever heard of that? The APF, the Association of Professional Foresters. Sounds all very technical. It's basically a great big forestry show, and it happens every 2 years. But 2 years ago, COVID struck and the whole APF got cancelled, and they were going to schedule it for the year after, which was quite unusual because it's a biannual event. That meant it would have been dropped into the third year. Anyway, because of the COVID restrictions and the whole virus escalated out of control again, they said no, we're going to have to cancel it and go drop into the fourth year. So we haven't had an APF for 4 years now, and I am really looking forward to it. It's one of those events, I absolutely love it. When I was at college, there's a chap called Robin Brooke. He organised it for us, and we went in a minibus. And I had one of the best days I've ever had at college. I absolutely loved it. And since then I've been to every one. So it's been at Ragley Hall, it's been at Cannock Chase, it's been at Dumfries up in Scotland. Me and my dad went to that one, we stayed overnight. And where am I going? I've gone past my coppice. Hopefully we'll have a bit of a meet up. So that could be a possibility. If you go to the APF, I'm planning to go, and I've booked my ticket, so get your tickets booked and we'll see you there. I'm going to be there on a Thursday. By all means, private messages or email us. We could perhaps meet up at lunchtime for a drink, a quick natter, catch up. I don't know how I'm meant to identify you. I mean, I'll be there and you'll know what I look like. I did think about having a t-shirt with A Up Woodlanders on it, but I'm going to look a bit of a numpty, aren't I? Anyway, this is our coppice. Hang on, let me swing you around. This is our coppice. I'm going to cut this one. This is on a 6-year cycle, this was, as I said before, and I've got to get in here. I remember cutting this. This is its first cut since the maiden cut, so often you get quite wonky timbers in this, but I've got to try and find some half decent stakes and binders out of it, because Bill's put his order in, and Bill likes nice stakes and binders. Some of these oak trees are going to have to come out because there's too much shade on this. I've spoke about shade before in coppice, but there's too much. So Karen's been up this morning as well to help out, which is great news. And she just tends to drag out for me and just puts them into the different piles. And that's that area cut. Probably about 30, maybe 40 stools. I didn't really count actually, so a stool is that. If you're familiar with a stool, apologies for the suck eggs. So I've got some stakes, they've all got to be dressed yet. There might be some rejects in there, but on a whole, they're not a bad quality. I would have preferred more stakes per stool. The order is for 120 and I think I've probably got about 150. We've got some binders in that lot as well, and some binders in that lot as well. So all of this that you see in front of you, all of this is stuff for weaving rods. Now some of it, like if for instance this stuff here, I can't really use that. Not for weaving rods. and so that'll end up going through the branch logger and probably used as either charcoal or to get the dragging going. Or, to be honest, it may even get used at home on the fire yet, because this whole fuel thing is a little bit out of control, but we'll see. I don't think it'll go short anyway. But once it's gone through the branch logger, it only takes about a month and it's dry. It's just a bit messy, so if you're going to put it on open fire, you don't want to do it on your Axminster carpet. And then the next project for this area, because this area itself is quite small, about 40 stalls or so, and you can see quite quickly it encroaches there. I think these are Corsican pine just here. So those Corsican pine cast quite a bit of shadow, whereas the larch that is just there, they're not so bad. There's a couple of these oak trees here that are going to have to come out because there's just too much shade, because that's south up there. So we want the south sun on our coppice. And then there's probably some more pine down there. And these ash trees, as we pan round, all of these are so poor. So this area here is what we planted up with Robinias. Nearly all failed. I think I've found one now that's still alive. But the ash are dying with ash dieback. You could probably see in the canopies up there, look, the state of some of these are dead. And these were alive last year, which is quite incredible, really. So I think I'm going to have to clear fell this. So these ash trees here are going to be clear felled. And then I'm going to replant with hazel, I think. I'm going to forget the idea of Robinia. This area does really well for hazel. And it will extend this coop. So it will go, then it will be sort of twice as big, this coop will be eventually. So that's our goal, really, is to gradually thin out the woodland that's around it, and every time we cut a coppice coop is to increase its size by cutting out the trees around it, and then either letting self-set hazel come up, or if we've got some that we can transplant, is to do that. The next job is here to dress the hedge lane stakes and then to dress the binders. Going to have to wrap up this wood log. Thanks again for watching us this week, and if you're able to, try and get out and to enjoy the woodlands this week, and especially the APF. If you like what you see, by all means click on the like button. If you don't like what you see, click on the dislike button, but just remember to click it twice. And we'll see you on the next one.